StorageCraft here at SYNNEX Corporation. I've handled that relationship for about 2 years now, and we wanted to welcome you to a discussion around StorageCraft and introduce one of our premier disaster recovery software solutions that we distribute. Helping me navigate the bulk of the webinar today is StorageCraft's Director of Product Marketing, Brian Weistenson. One of the main reasons we're jointly bringing this webinar to you is because of something that many of you may have already heard. In preparation for the sale of Veritas by Symantec to the Carlyle Group, SYNNEX has stopped offering Veritas solutions such as Backup Exec and Net Backup effective September the 1st. SYNNEX will continue to offer Symantec core products from their security division, Enterprise Security Solutions, and Symantec.cloud products. SYNNEX feels that this is a great StorageCraft opportunity, and we want to make sure that you guys understand how and when to leverage StorageCraft solutions. A little bit later in the webinar, after Brian's presentation, we will discuss my team here and how you can engage us on any opportunities for StorageCraft that you want to carry through SYNNEX. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Brian, and we will have a Q&A at the end of it. And just for FYI, this is a live web demo, so we appreciate your patience and look forward to talking with you at the end of the presentation.
Okay, well, thank you, Trent. It's great to be with everyone today, and we really appreciate this opportunity. And thanks to SYNNEX, thanks to those of you partners who have taken time out of your busy schedules. We realize and recognize that your day is very busy, but we really appreciate the time that you're taking to let us share with you some of the exciting things that we're doing here at StorageCraft, some of the new products that we've just recently released, and talk to you about how this might be beneficial to you as you look to add new products to your portfolio and your solutions that you offer to your customers. Today I'd like to review a little bit about StorageCraft, the company itself, its history, to give you a background for those of you who may not know much about the company. But more importantly, what I would like to do is walk you through an overview of the various products and solutions through SYNNEX. We will leave time at the end to answer any questions you might have, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we possibly can here today during the webinar. If there are any questions that we're unable to get to in the time that we have allotted here, we will get back to you as quickly as we possibly can. So send your questions. I want to make sure, by way of housekeeping, that you know that you can submit questions over in the bottom right of the webinar pane, and there's a little chat feature there, and we'll try to collate those and go through as many of those as we can. Also, another piece of housekeeping, this is a live recording today, so we will be sending out a link for those of you who wish to go back and revisit some of the details that we'll be talking about here today, or for those who may have been unable to join us on the call today. So without further ado, let's jump right into the company and give you a little bit of a background of who we are as StorageCraft. Some of you might be familiar with StorageCraft, and those of you who are, you know that the company has been in business for nearly 15 years now. In fact, just in the past few years, we've seen tremendous growth all over the world. We've grown at nearly 400% just in the last few years as we've opened up offices in Europe, in Asia, and across the Pacific Rim, even in South America, where we're making movements down there. We also just moved into a brand new building here at our headquarters, and at least for the time being, we're enjoying a little bit more elbow room as we continue to grow. You know, those of you who may not know about StorageCraft, I wanted to kind of go back in time a little bit and walk you through kind of how StorageCraft began. StorageCraft has very, very deep roots in the backup and disaster recovery space. Many of you might remember some products that you had in your portfolio several years ago, and some of you may still have. Products called Partition Magic or Drive Image. These are products that came from a company by the name of PowerQuest. Some of you might remember that name. The reason I bring that up is these folks were pioneers in the disk-based architecture and technology arena. And they are the ones that really ushered in the first hot imaging snapshot driver that revolutionized this space that we're talking about here. It was these key players that you see here. They are the ones that ultimately later then formed what we now know today as StorageCraft. And that same technology, that lineage of that snapshot driver that started it all, is the same snapshot driver, the same exact technology that we use in our products, namely ShadowProtect today. It's one of the reasons that we are best known for our reliability and our rock-solid recovery capabilities. Now, over the years, of course, new features have come along the way in bare metal and hardware-independent restore capabilities, virtual integrations, as well as cloud, and we'll talk about all of those today here. Those have all come along as a result of this kind of technology, but this is really where it all started, the lineage of this snapshot driver, the ability to take images, volume sector-based images while the machine is up and running. This is really where it all started. So we're excited to tell you about the products that have come along over the years. Today, StorageCraft partners with industry-leading businesses and technology companies all over the world. Our technology literally is running on millions of systems, around the world, either by way of StorageCraft and its partner network, or by way of the alliances and the OEM relationships that we've enjoyed over the years. Those of you who may have been to VMworld 2015 this year, or looked at some of the press and the news that came out of the show, you may have seen or noticed that we have entered into a very exciting relationship with VMware, whereby we'll be partnering with them to bring some very exciting technologies to market. We have a very close relationship, and it's been a lot of fun to work with VMware on some of these leading-edge technologies through this development program. We have also been fortunate to be the recipients of several awards over the years. Most notably, I think what you'll see here is our partner programs and our channel vendor relationships. That's what we're most known for. That is what we do. We are very, very heavy channel-based company. That's where we work, and it is something we take very, very seriously as we work with our partners and our channel relationships. It's one of the things that we're most well known for as we work with you folks and work with SYNNEX and other partners to take our products to market. Okay, let's dive right into the StorageCraft solution suite and talk to you about some of the products that we offer and how they'll benefit your portfolio. When we talk about StorageCraft and the StorageCraft recovery solution, we like to talk about the solution in the context of a complete and comprehensive backup and disaster recovery plan. I think that everyone understands backup, but not everybody understands management or replication or test and the importance of those things. In years past, backup was sufficient for many companies. Backing up their servers, backing up their volumes, backing up their data or their databases. Today, it's much more complex than that. It's important that all of the elements of what we see as sort of a recovery life cycle, if you will, be met. If the backups are not being effectively managed, there is a potential hole in the disaster recovery plan because those backups start to pile up, and if they're not being effectively managed, that can cause problems down the line. If the backups are not being replicated to off-site repositories, whether that's to a secondary data repository or a secondary storage device, or even a public or private cloud, or even the StorageCraft cloud, for that matter, business continuity is at risk in the event of a more catastrophic type of a disaster. And finally, if those backups aren't being regularly tested or verified to ensure the integrity and the recovery capability of each and every backup taken, then what's the point? Because at the end of the day, it is all about recovery. And if those backups are not recoverable, there's not a lot of point until that is resolved. So let's take a look at the StorageCraft portfolio and talk about what StorageCraft delivers in each of these key categories. We have a broad portfolio of solutions that we offer. Everything from our new ShadowProtect SPX line to our management capabilities. You'll see that we have products for server, for virtual, for small business, for desktop. We also provide our cloud services capabilities that we've recently launched here in the United States and in Canada, and we're launching all across the world. We also have management tools in Image Manager and Shadow Control. We'll talk about each and every one of those and where they fit into this disaster recovery lifecycle. So let's first start with backup. One of the things that StorageCraft has long been known for is its fast and reliable backup capabilities. This is really at the heart of who we are. It's at the heart of what we're best known for. Our cornerstone backup product, ShadowProtect, has long been the flagship product ever since it was originally released many years ago. In just a few moments, I'll be showing you a brand new product line that we recently introduced that we call ShadowProtect SPX. And to talk a little bit about SPX, I'll show you SPX, but to talk a little bit about it and give you an overview of what it is, it truly is the next generation line of ShadowProtect. It offers support for both virtual and physical Windows and Linux systems. So all in one solution, it is a cross-platform heterogeneous solution that administrators can manage both Linux and Windows systems interchangeably from either device. For those who are selling into larger environments who require one single heterogeneous solution, this is a great answer. And it really is unmatched in the industry today. There's really no other product quite like it, and we'll show you this here in the demo. It provides all the same security, the same reliability, and as I mentioned, that same trusted lineage of snapshot driver technology that has been used in the StorageCraft products over the years. Plus, it's managed with policy-based administration via our new management console that we call Shadow Control, and we'll talk about that as well. One of the other things that's exciting about SPX is it is integrated with a technology that we call virtual boot. Our virtual boot functionality allows you to rapidly boot a backup as a VM right from the SPX interface. This, in the products previous to this, you had to download a separate installation, and you know, you certainly could do this, but it was much more wizard-driven, and it was a little more labor-intensive to get these backups to convert into a virtual environment. Today, all of this has been integrated seamlessly into the SPX interface, and it is as easy as clicking on a backup in the timeline window and launching a virtual instance of that backup. And all of the tools and the hypervisor that we provide for the user is all built into the SPX interface. So that's a very exciting move. Like I said, there's really not a lot of products, there's not one I can think of that has that integration built in such that in the event that you don't have a hypervisor in your environment, you still can boot any of these physical images into a virtual environment and get up and running in the event of an emergency. All right, let's talk about manage. You know, taking backups is the first step. It's important. It's the first, step on the road to that recovery life cycle, if you will. But management of those backups is an equal and critical part of the complete and comprehensive recovery plan. Now, this summer, we released new versions of our popular Image Manager, as well as our StorageCraft Shadow Control product lines. And then we've also released plugins for both VMware Microsoft. All of these products support a very, very strong foundation of management tools and capabilities for companies large and small. All right, let's talk just a little bit about StorageCraft Shadow Control. If you have tens or hundreds or thousands of Windows and Linux systems across multiple clients or sites, this is the solution that allows you to monitor every SPX, every ShadowProtect, every Image Manager instance or endpoint in your environment, all through a single pane of glass. It's web-based, and you get the full visibility into the health and status of your backup jobs across the entire IT environment. For partners, it is multi-tenant, so you can manage multiple clients, multiple customers, all from a single pane of glass without having to install multiple instances of the console for each and every customer that you're supporting. All right, let's talk just for a minute about replication. You know, as I mentioned in the replication on-prem backup plans, over the years that they were good enough, but today they are no longer sufficient. For a complete and comprehensive disaster recovery plan, replication is an absolute vital component. It helps preserve business continuity in the event of an emergency, and it's become more and more critical as compliance and regulatory rules and regulations have come onto the scene that require us to keep our data for a certain period of time. You know, it's not just about taking a backup and making a copy of that backup. It's really about getting those backups off-site so that in the event of a more catastrophic event, you have the ability to maintain your business, you have the ability to go back in and look at data, recovering individual files and folders, or even bringing full systems back online should you need to do that. Now, I talked for a minute about Image Manager earlier, but I wanted to touch back again on replication where Image Manager is concerned. Image Manager really is the product line that does the heavy lifting of replicating backup files off-site. It has built into it additional capabilities around streaming technology, as well as intelligent FTP. These are patented technologies that we offer for those customers who want additional capabilities around streaming backups to off-site or to FTP locations. It also allows customers to replicate files to the StorageCraft cloud, if that's where they want to go, or to their own public or private clouds in the event of off-site protection. So speaking of cloud, we recently introduced our brand new cloud services offering here just a few months ago, and this has been an amazing rollout for us. We've simplified the pricing. We have tier-based pricing for customers, businesses large and small. It's very, very simple. We've tried to make it as easy as possible, but the power in this cloud is it truly was built, purpose-built for disaster recovery. So we have instant failover in the cloud capabilities, and StorageCraft has also extended the advanced networking features to allow you to create disaster recovery network in the cloud should your production network go down. You literally can take your full production environment, move it to the cloud, and be up and running in a very short period of time in the event of an emergency. And we do have customers doing just that, running production out of our cloud. We also support larger, more complex networks than ever before. And if you desire, as a partner, you can even grant your clients access to the cloud, to this cloud portal, so that they can retrieve files and folders or conduct more complex cloud tasks at any time directly from a web interface. Okay, let's touch on test. Unfortunately, this is one of the areas of the life cycle that is often forgotten or perhaps an afterthought for most. Test absolutely is one of the most critical elements of this life cycle, and it, unfortunately, we get busy, and sometimes test is not something that we practice. That's why here at StorageCraft we've tried to build in automated test capabilities in the backup products so that you don't have to perform a lot of manual test procedures. If these backups that are being taken and they're being managed and being replicated off-site, if they're not being verified on a regular basis to ensure the integrity of the data or the recoverability of an entire system, then you really don't know. And at the time of a recovery, at the time of a disaster, that's really the worst time to find out that your backup is not reliable. And it really doesn't do a whole lot of good to hope or guess at that point in time. That's why, like I said, we offer numerous ways to test your backups, not only from a manual standpoint, but we try to put as much automated testing into our products as we possibly can. Finally, recovery. It is all about recovery, and StorageCraft, that is really the focus of everything that we do here. None of what we've talked about thus far matters if you can't recover. So I'll show you in a few minutes some of the ways that you can recover the SPX, our new product line. But StorageCraft, we provide a wide variety of ways to recover depending on the scenario. I should remind everyone here, we provide also freely available versions of our recovery environment. One is a Linux boot environment that we call our cross-platform recovery environment. These are freely downloadable today from our website. I believe you can get these from the SYNNEX as well. The Linux version has, it's a very quick, lightweight, boots very rapidly, and has all of the capabilities to recover these images either from a full bare metal standpoint, the similar hardware is built into it, as well as the ability to recover individual files and folders. Now, this has been updated to support SPX as well. Now, we have another recovery environment, and that is our Windows environment, and that environment is for those of you who like to build your own customized recovery environment with drivers and so forth. That utilizes what many of us refer to as WinPE, or the Windows Pre-Installation Edition, which leverages the Microsoft ADK. So you can download either of those, play with those. The cross-platform version is fully self-sustainable. You don't have to do anything. That's just an ISO that you can use either on a thumb drive or you can burn it to a DVD. The other one, because Microsoft no longer allows the redistribution of WinPE, we will take you to the site, we will allow you to download the ADK, and from there we will wrap it up and put together the ISO for you. But we can no longer redistribute the ADK. So we just make it easy and take you to the site so that you can download it on your own. So the bottom line in terms of recovery is everything we do, every product we release, every feature that we work on, every single thing we do, recovery is at the foremost of our minds. It's all designed around recovery. In a disaster, you know, from our perspective, you really never know what resources will be available to you. And that's why we provide as many different ways to recover as possible for as many different types of recovery scenarios that we can think of. There really is, you know, there's a lot of ways to recover and a lot of products and a lot of vendors out there, but there's very few that provide as many different ways to recover as StorageCraft, because that really is at the heart of what we do. Okay, enough talking. Let's show you what we've been up to, and I want to just kind of take a minute here and bounce out of the slide deck, and I would like to show you for a moment our new line, StorageCraft ShadowProtect SPX. Hopefully everyone can see that on my screen. This, what you're seeing is a brand new interface in ShadowProtect. This is, you'll notice that this console is very dashboard friendly, and that was designed intentionally. In fact, the entire interface was completely redesigned with the goal of providing as much information as possible, but not only information, but providing the user with the ability to interact on that information. So let's go through this just a little bit. Let's start in the upper left. Up here, if you can see my cursor, this window is called the backup job window, and this is where all of your backup jobs would be housed. Now in my case, I'm coming at you live. This is my production laptop that I'm talking to you on right here, right now. This instance of StorageCraft ShadowProtect SPX is my instance that I use to protect my production machine. Now in my case, it's a little more simple, and for the purposes of the demo, it's you know, I have one backup job here. But if you were on a server environment, you might have multiple backup jobs, and you can have as many backup jobs as you wish. You might have a backup job for different volumes, different data volumes, or different you know, system volumes that you are protecting on that server, partitions or whatnot. You might also have a backup job that is built around different RPO objectives. For example, different times of when backups are kicking off throughout work days versus weekends or the end of weeks or the end of months and so forth. Down here to the bottom left, or the side panel left, this is the job summary pane. The job summary pane kind of gives you, you know, sort of a quick glance at all of the pertinent information that you need to know about the job. So in my case, notice here, the name of my backup job is SPX Backups. It is queued currently, waiting for the next scheduled time slot to kick off. The type of backup that I have selected in my job is a continuous backup. And continuous, we provide continuous backups. We provide full backups where you could do a full each and every time if that's what you wanted to do. I'll go ahead and enlarge this for people if you can see that a little bit better. And we also provide, you know, incrementals and differentials. So you really have a wide variety of different backup choices available to you. You'll notice also I'm running Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I've just got it set to my weekday hours. And I believe I'm backing up every 30 minutes on mine. Now in a server environment, you're probably going to want to turn that up to every 15 minutes, especially for mission critical servers. My last run here was at 2, so just at the beginning, at the top of the hour when we started this webinar, I had a backup that kicked off at 2 p.m. And I think you'll even notice up here in the upper right, you'll notice that at 2 p.m., where my cursor is, successful incremental, September 24th at 2 p.m. Also down here on the destination, you'll notice where I'm pointing to. You could have backup jobs that are pointing to multiple destination locations. So you could have a duplicate backup job, one going to one drive and another going to another drive for the purposes of, you know, almost having a duplicate copy of your backup, if you will, just from starting with 2 separate, unique, independent backup jobs. Now, over here to the right, you'll see this job timeline. This job time is really where the power comes in. This is really where the magic happens. And I want to highlight this timeline that we're talking about here. Hopefully everyone can see that as I move the timeline across the screen. This timeline, which is patented, by the way, is really revolutionary because it does one of two things. First of all, it is a graphical representation of how we think about and how we talk about this type of technology, folds and bases and incrementals and differentials. Many of you who have gone into your customer sites that have utilized this type of technology, image-based technology, many of you will go to the whiteboard and you'll draw a line on the board to represent a fold, or you'll draw a tick mark or a smaller tick mark to represent an incremental. Well, that's precisely what the engineers have built here. They've built a graphical representation of this precise way of thinking when you look at your incrementals across your environment. If you look at the legend up here on the right, you'll see we support folds, we support incrementals and differentials, and the various colors are what will appear in my backups across the window. Now let me go ahead and zoom in here so that you can just sort of see what I've been doing on my laptop over the last several days. Now the second thing that this timeline gives you is it gives you a graphical indicator of any problems that might be taking place in your environment. For example, if I have spikes in my incrementals or my bases on every particular day of a week, for example, that's a pattern that I might recognize that I might otherwise not be able to see in just looking at files in an Explorer or a grid or a list control of some form. The lines, the height of these lines indicates the amount of data, the quantity of data that's been backed up, and the width of the lines is representative of how long it took to take that incremental. Now look at the last one that I just took. This was the one at 2 o'clock, and I'll go to the very end. This took about 13 seconds. So obviously not a lot of changes going on in my system, but nevertheless, very, very rapid backup in terms of the time that it took to take that backup. Let me back up here and I'll show you some of these others. 1 second. Now the reds that you see, I don't know if you can see these, so let me zoom in. Several people want to know about how does an error appear, how does a failure appear in my environment. If you look at the reds here, what it allows me to do is quickly highlight those and look to see what the error may have been for that particular point in time. Now most of these reds, because this is my laptop, this is when I'm disconnecting from my docking bay and I'm going to meetings and so forth, so I'm kind of disconnected from my secondary storage device. And in my case, I'm simply going to a USB drive that I have attached to my docking bay. But you can see here that it's a very powerful visual indicator of all of the history of my backups and what's taking place. Not only can I see it, but I can interact on these. This is my base, the blue one that you see here. I took this last night at around 6:51. You'll notice that it's about 46.2 gigabytes in size, and it took all of 13 minutes, 24 seconds to accomplish that backup. And then as I moved forward in today, when I got into the office, I started taking backups on a regular basis. These were 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 12 seconds, and so on and so forth, down to this last one that took place right at the top of the hour. Now, as I mentioned, not only is this a reporting tool, but down here you'll notice these little icons. They allow me to interact with each and every one of those backups. So I can view the image information of that backup. I can mount an image. I can restore a full volume, whether that's a data volume or a system volume. And I can certainly verify the integrity of that backup right here, all from within the SPX interface. There's no wizards to go through. There's no long, drawn-out sort of different dialogues that you have to go in to do this. It's all built in, all integrated into the system. Now, you'll notice up here at the top, look at this. A backup just kicked off right at the bottom of the hour. It must be the bottom of the hour. So I have mine set. In fact, it finished before I was done speaking. But we're now done at 2:30, and that took, here's the new one that just popped in, because I have my backup job set for every 30 minutes, and it took about 12 seconds. So let me go ahead and kick off a manual, and I want to show you just how easy this is. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Let's go ahead and put a file on the desktop, just as a sample, and we'll say, welcome SYNNEX Partners. And inside that we'll say, hello SYNNEX. Just something to sort of simulate a file here on my desktop. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and manually kick off this job. I'll go ahead and start this backup now. I can interrupt my schedule at any time manually if I want, and it does not interfere in any way, shape, or form with my scheduled backup job. So you'll see we're taking the snapshot, and you'll notice a new tick mark that shows up in my job timeline here to the right. Now this should only take just, in fact it's done now. So there's the new tick mark that just popped in, and we'll go to the end. I'll use my little control to go to the end, and you'll notice this was taken at 2:31 and took all of 11 seconds. Now let's go ahead and mount this and make sure that it picked up that file. So it's just as simple as this. I'll give it my password. In my case, I've set up a password. And I'll go ahead and mount and assign drive letter E. Now I could mount this as a subfolder mount point in an existing NTFS folder. And I can also mount this as either read-only or writable. If I unselect this, I can make changes to any one of these points in time. I can edit files, I can delete files, I can add files, and we will preserve those changes as a natural part of the backup chain. So these are not just read-only images. These are truly editable images that we will track and preserve any changes that you wish to make should you wish to mount a volume and leave it on a network share for writing purposes. So let's go ahead and mount this. We'll show you how easy this is. This started, and up comes my E drive. So there's my local E drive, and it'll go ahead and show the volume. Now let's go ahead and drill down in once this paints, and I'll say users and find my name here, and that's me. And I'll go to my desktop because that's where I saved that file. And there is Welcome SYNNEX Partners, and that is the file that we just stored. So just a sample. That's just a sample of really how easy it truly is to work this product. It's that simple, and it's doing all of this via a sector-based, volume-based image coming from the kernel layer. So let's go ahead and clear that. You'll also notice up here in my menu bar, you'll notice that the mount volume icon has a little badge associated with it. This tells me that I still have a mounted volume in my system, and if I want to go ahead and dismount that, I just simply say dismount. And now I should no longer have an E drive. This will go away once that service has been dismounted, if you saw that there on the screen. That's really how easy it is to do files and folders and use the power of this job timeline. Now the most exciting one that I haven't talked about yet, the most exciting one is I mentioned earlier that you can boot any one of these backups, whether it's an incremental, whether it's a differential, or whether it's a full image. I can immediately boot this, instantly boot this into a virtual environment, and that is through our virtual boot technology that's been integrated directly into the SPX interface. You could either access it from here up on the tool menu, or you could just do it simply from here. And all this is I simply click on it, just like I did mount, and it'll ask me a few questions. It'll ask me, okay, is this the image that you want to boot? And it will automatically chain that back into the base and build a virtual system for me and boot it into a hypervisor that for the user by default in the event that they don't have a vSphere client or a VMware workstation or a Hyper-V environment at their disposal. So I'll go ahead and give this a name, like Brian's laptop, and I'll give it a little more memory or something like that. And that's really all it is. You can choose to have a network adapter. In this case, a NAT adapter. I'll probably go ahead and say not attached, otherwise I'll get all kinds of errors on my network because I'm running on the very system that I'm using. But all you do is you simply say create, and I've done one just a few minutes ago. I booted one up, and I'll show you what that looks like. So on my screen, what you'll see here is you will see a representation of that virtual image from the desktop behind it that I am actually running on this virtual boot technology that we provide. So very simple, very fast, very easy to sort of access and get to a full system in a virtual environment in the event of a disaster. And that's really how simple it is. If I wanted to recover these volumes via a data volume or a bare metal or a hardware independent restore, I would simply download those hardware recovery environments. I would point to those images because the same style of interface exists in those products, and then I would just simply say restore, and it will lay down that volume exactly as it captured it via a sector basis. So let me go ahead and go back to the slides, and we'll cover a few more things that we need to go through. And I'll go ahead and bring that up full screen. Hopefully everyone can see that okay. And we'll just reset ourselves here back to the full screen. And then let's finish by kind of getting into how we go ahead and get started with StorageCraft. One thing that I wanted to point out were some of the comparable SKUs. Many of you might be asking, okay, so how do the StorageCraft product lines that you just talked about, how do they compare with some of the Symantec product lines that you're familiar with and that you've been accustomed to selling? You know, not every one of these is going to be an apples-to-apples comparison, obviously. Symantec Backup Exec is a product that's been around for a number of years, and it is, you know, it's a good product. It's based on a different kind of technology. It's based on a traditional file folder-based architecture, while this technology is based on a sector-level or imaging-based technology. The end result still can be the same. In fact, we have a lot of customers who StorageCraft ShadowProtect as their sole backup solution because it does provide granular file folder and recovery capabilities, but it also gives them that additional protection in bare metal restores, complete system recoveries, as well as the ability to transition into virtual environments if need be. Now, other customers who are running Backup Exec in their environments, they'll implement ShadowProtect as a complementary solution for disaster recovery capabilities. There might be some customers that you know, they love and enjoy Backup Exec and they're familiar with it, they've trained their personnel on it, but they may not have a disaster recovery solution or a full bare metal or hardware independent or virtual conversion solution in their environment, and they'll implement StorageCraft ShadowProtect for those purposes. So if you look down the line here, what would be most comparable to Backup Exec would be our ShadowProtect server, our Shadow Control management console, as well as our image manager. If you look at application high availability from Symantec, this would be most comparable to StorageCraft ShadowProtect Virtual, where we provide the same technology, but we do so for virtual machines running on a wide variety of hypervisors. Obviously, VMware and Hyper-V are the most prominent in the market, but we are hypervisor agnostic. We really try to provide our customers with the broadest array of support for virtual. We run on KVM and a whole host of other hypervisors because we recognize that a lot of the customers that we serve, they may be using or experimenting with some of these other hypervisors that might be more cost effective in their environment. If you look at the laptop option, this is an option that accompanies Backup Exec. The most comparable product line to that would be our ShadowProtect desktop line. It's the same technology that we just showed you here on my laptop, as well as Recovery Orchestrator. This would be comparable to our StorageCraft Cloud Services, which is a full disaster recovery, custom-built, purpose-built VR solution in the cloud. Our MSP customers or partners will utilize the MSP portal and have full access to all of those systems that are replicated to the cloud via Image Manager that we talked about. And in that cloud, you can virtualize those systems on the fly, on demand, at any time, and we don't charge extra for any of that capability. We provide tiered pricing, and it's really based on up to 1 terabyte, and then after 1 terabyte, if there's another tier that you want to move to, you move to that tier. But we don't charge for additional bandwidth. We don't charge for additional recovery points locally. You can take as many recovery points as you want. It's unlimited on a local environment. We tried to make that as simple as possible, but build the tier structure around your needs in terms of RPO objectives. If you look at server, desktop, Linux, small business, we're very, very comparable. These are very, very similar products. In fact, Symantec System Recovery, many of you know this already, But semantic system recovery is based on an image-based technology, and it is the same style of technology that ShadowProtect is based on. And so those are very comparable products when you look at Semantic System Recovery Server or ShadowProtect Server or ShadowProtect Desktop or SPX for Linux or ShadowProtect for Small Business, as well as the Virtual Edition. These are very, very, very comparable products in terms of their technology and the capabilities that they provide. I mentioned Backup Exec System Recovery. For those who might be familiar with that, that is the former version of the renamed, which is now called Semantic System Recovery, but prior to that it was actually the Backup Exec System Recovery line, but it's the same product line, just rebranded to the Semantic name. All right, I hope that is helpful in terms of looking at comparable SKUs as you go down the list of, how do I match Backup Exec or Semantic kinds of products with what matches up with StorageCraft. So at this point, I would like to turn the time back to Trent to kind of cover some of our licensing options, MSP subscriptions, as well as competitive upgrade pricing. And before I do that, I want to thank everybody for your time again today. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you and to be able to share some of this exciting news with each of you. So Trent, I'll turn the time back to you.
Hey, thanks, Brian. That was a very, very informative presentation. Really appreciate the time and effort you took to share that with us. Before we move any further forward, I wanted to let everyone know that we are kind of nearing the end of the presentation. We will be covering some SYNNEX information. I'd like to remind everyone, please submit your questions via the chat function and or the question function on your screen there. We'll be covering the Q&As, as many as we can get to, and as much as possible towards the end of the presentation. Again, thanks, Brian. Very informative. As stated, SYNNEX can be your one-stop shop for all StorageCraft licensing, including perpetual licensing, where we kind of cut our teeth with StorageCraft and got them off the ground here at SYNNEX. One of the biggest announcements that we're very excited about, just happened within the last couple of weeks, is our exclusive offering of StorageCraft subscription-based MSP licensing. We can now offer that through distribution, and if you'd like to have a discussion around that, my team, which I'll cover a little bit later, would love to talk with you about that and begin moving forward to help you and show you how to monetize this solution as a complete disaster recovery as a service offering. Also available is the StorageCraft cloud services that Brian mentioned just a little bit ago. And if you're working with an end user displacing a competitive image-based product, we do offer competitive upgrade pricing. Competitive upgrades are offered for both platforms, ShadowProtect version 5 and ShadowProtect SPX. The pricing covers physical servers, ShadowProtect for small business, and desktops. Now, if you're looking to help your end users gain an edge on replacing their old systems and utilizing StorageCraft competitive upgrade pricing, it can save them up to 30% off the original MSRP of the product. So it's a very, very good tool that we offer. We do offer for other competitive-like products that are image-based. So just reach out to my team, and let me tell you how to get in touch with us here at SYNNEX. I would love to give you an opportunity to work with us. So again, my name is Trent. I'm the product manager for StorageCraft. Have a whole dedicated team to StorageCraft business development, and leading that is Matthew McCullough, who's joining us here on the presentation today as well. We also have our SYNNEX emerging team. We have more than what you see here, actually, trained and available to help you with anything from quoting, placing orders, pre-sale support, making sure you have the right pricing configuration. There's tons of different bundles and packs and products that StorageCraft offers and makes available to its reseller partners. Along with that is deal registration awards. So we honor those deal registration awards and can help you get those deals registered to protect yourselves with StorageCraft. One thing I do want to point out, if you can't remember anything else as far as how to get in touch with my team or myself directly, please just remember StorageCraft@synnex.com. That's the best and fastest way to get in touch with not only myself but everyone else who is trained on StorageCraft. I will also point out we have a very good relationship, as you can tell, with StorageCraft. They're inside channel account managers, and sales engineers. They've been a very, very important part of our disaster recovery solutions we offer here, and we're very excited to work with them. So that kind of ends the presentation from this point of view. We will jump into a Q&A session. And it looks like we have quite a few questions here. If you don't mind, Brian, helping me out with some of these, we'll try to knock them out, and we'll get to as many of these as we can. Joe asked, does StorageCraft Cloud Services offer disaster recovery as a site-to-site VPN?
So the answer to that is yes. We do provide site-to-site VPN capabilities from the new StorageCraft Cloud Services. We can get you more information on that, but the answer is absolutely yes.
All right, yep, we can help definitely get some more information. Next question also comes from Joe. Can I upgrade my MSP 5.2.3 version to SPX, or is there any cost to it? Can you upgrade your MSP? So can you repeat that question real quick there, Trent? I think you must be using the ShadowProtect version 5 for the MSP through the MSP portal, okay, and is looking to upgrade to SPX. Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure I understood. Absolutely, answer. You can upgrade that MSP to the latest versions of SPX and move forward from that standpoint. My good friend Renee asked, are there any requirements for ShadowProtect physical server upgrade SKUs? So, Brian, I'll take that one. We do ask that you provide some sort of proof of ownership, Renee, when requesting competitive upgrade pricing. That can come in the form of any type of existing serial number that's installed on that machine, and you just basically submit that with your PO here to us at SYNNEX, and we'll just keep that on file for you. I think that's pretty much all StorageCraft requires for the competitive upgrade pricing. Brian, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Oh, that's correct. That's correct. And we do provide maintenance, active maintenance. As long as our customers are on active maintenance, they can freely upgrade to any of these latest products that we've talked about today. So, it's very simple from the standpoint of StorageCraft. The products that you talked about today, everything is built into StorageCraft ShadowProtect, at least from the ShadowProtect standpoint. There's not, we don't break our licensing down by functionality in terms of can I protect applications and databases or those kinds of things. There's a lot of products that will break their licensing down that way, and that's fine. That's not the way that we've chosen to break our licensing. Everything that you get with either a server license or a desktop license, it's all the same. It's built in with the steady state capabilities for protecting and ensuring the integrity of a mission critical application or a database, for example. You don't need to buy separate agents or things to do that. All of that is contained within the license that you will purchase for either of those products. And then it's just a simple maintenance that you wish to buy, whether 1 or 2 or 3 year maintenance term. So very similar to some of the others, but we try to keep it as simple as possible. Hey, we still got some good questions, really good questions rolling in here. Joe asked, will my image manager need to be a change/upgrade to SPX, or can I use the same base, or maybe that's two questions, can I use the same base image? So will image manager need to be configured differently for a upgrade to SPX, and can they use the same base image? You can use the same base image. Here's the great thing. With this new version of SPX, we have not, a lot of people ask us, they say, did you change your imaging format? And the answer to that is no, we did not change our imaging format. So you can actually go back and use an older version of Image Manager if that's something you still want to sit on or utilize. And you'll still be able to see those same backup images, the chain, and do all of the same things you've been doing with Image Manager if you're taking backups with the new SPX now. Now, granted, we recommend that users upgrade the new version of Image Manager when they can and when it's available, because it's always coming out with new, fixes or new features and capabilities in there. But I think the real question, at least I hope I understood the heart of the question, is the imaging format has not changed. That's the same snapshot imaging format that we've always been using. Okay, Max asked, will current licenses under ShadowProtect version 5 work with the new SPX version? Yes, answer is yes. The ShadowProtect, let me see if I can repeat the question. The ShadowProtect 5X licenses, they have been entered into our systems, and I believe in your side as well, on the SYNNEX side, those licenses can be applied to an SPX download. Yeah, I'll just elaborate on that. I did add the version 5 to question, but Max, to expand on that just a little bit, the license does need to be up to date with its maintenance, and you need to be at least on version 5 or higher. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah, in terms of migrating, if you want to migrate from an SPX 5 installation to SPX, you would need to be on. We will preserve your backup job and all of your definitions and your destinations and all of that. We will do that from the ShadowProtect 5X line. If you're on a line prior to 5X, then we don't see those and we don't go back that far. But yes, you will be able to upgrade. If you were to download SPX and install it over the top of ShadowProtect 5X, we will preserve and maintain all of the backup settings so that you don't lose any of that information. And we will continue to move forward from the backup chain. So if you were set to a continuous backup job, we're not going to make you rebase. We're just going to pick up right where you left off with the new version of SPX.
Okay, we have 2 more. I think I can knock this one out real quick. For MSP subscription-based sales, do we need to provide licensing usage reports to SYNNEX? So it's a good question. The way we're currently operating as a distributor for the MSP licensing with StorageCraft is we're looking at net new partners, and we're trying to take those net new partners and help them grow their business for disaster recovery as a service solutions. For existing StorageCraft partners, you have a couple of different options. We're not offering a price advantage necessarily to move over to distribution for the MSP, so you can continue to stay where you're at. Or if you're looking to, one of the advantages we do offer is to use your terms and or flooring and or credit card accounts you have set up with SYNNEX. If you wish to move your MSP licensing over to SYNNEX, we would have to go through a little bit of an authorization process and get approval from StorageCraft. At that time, you would not have to report any type of subscription usage. We actually will get that usage from our portal as a master MSP and bill you for that usage. So I can expand on that question a little bit more in detail, probably in a one-on-one setting. Feel free to email me directly, trentp@synnex.com or storagecraft@synnex.com. So good question there. A couple more questions. Man, we have some good questions here. We have 20 clients in our data center going to one SAN, which has Image Manager installed and always gets bottlenecks. Will SPX speed up backup time? Brian?
That's a great question. I think what we want to do to understand the scenario there a little bit better and to really have a good understanding, I would not want to presuppose that I understand the environment or that I have a good foundational knowledge of what's going on there. That's a great question. What I would highly recommend that we do in this case is get you on the line, and I believe, is this Joe? Is that your question,
Yep,
Joe?
that came from Joe. Yep.
Yeah, what I'd like to do, Joe, is get you in touch with our tech experts and definitely cover that in your environment so that we have a very solid understanding of how you're set up, how you're configured, what the possible bottlenecks might be, whether that's in the configuration or whether that's in the infrastructure or whatnot. But we definitely will do that, and we will follow up with you on that and have one of our tech experts, if that's okay, Joe. It's totally up to you, but we would love to have that longer discussion so that we can understand what the bottleneck is that you're seeing today and make sure that, there are ways to optimize that and the best possible way to optimize it. But to answer that question, I think we really need to understand or have a better understanding of the environment. So that's what I would recommend that we do there, is put you in touch with some of our tech experts and really have a good understanding of what that installation and configuration looks like. Does that work, Joe, for you?
Yep. Yeah, that's he just gave us his email address, and we're ready to go once we end the question. A couple of more here.
Joe. Thank you, Joe. I didn't want to give you a false answer, but I would love to understand more about your environment before we tackle any kind of solution here on this call.
A couple of more questions. One again comes from Joe. How can I check if my retail version of ShadowProtect has current maintenance? It's a really good question. I can take this one, and then maybe if anyone wants to elaborate from the StorageCraft side, we make it really easy. If you currently have StorageCraft licensing, and whether you've purchased that through SYNNEX, another distributor, or directly through StorageCraft maybe in the past, we have the tools available here on our team to help you determine what the expiration date of your existing licenses are. We work exclusively with StorageCraft Business Systems team to help input those renewals and notices into our RenewSolve system that you can actually generate quotes directly through SYNNEX. Also, StorageCraft has a license lookup tool, where you can go in and put individual serial numbers, and Joe, we can get that link out to you, individual serial numbers into that tool lookup, and it will actually give you all the information you need to know when the license expires, what type of license it is, the origination date of that key, and also the expiration date. It'll even go as far as recommending the part that you need to purchase for that. And if you're signed into their portal, if that was originated through SYNNEX or ordered through SYNNEX originally, it will actually allow you to request a quote through our team and get a SYNNEX quote for that renewal directly from our team. So a lot of good questions there, and we can get that information out to you. And then one last question I see here: can we get a partner's copy of SPX? Max, it looks like you may be asking about an NFR copy. Brian, I think we can help him out with that, likely with the partner program. Is that correct?
You bet, absolutely. What we can do is, Aaron, if Aaron, our channel partner representative here at the company, he'll take care of that. So if we can get an email address there, we definitely can facilitate that. We encourage all of you to download either the free trial that you see there on the website, or get in touch with Trent, and he'll absolutely get in touch with us, and we can get NFR copies sent out to you.
All right, very good. Well, it looks like that's the end of our questions about the product specifically. This has been a great audience with really good questions. Really appreciate the participation from everyone who joined us. I know we're kind of getting late in the day here on the East Coast. Anyone who's joining on the West Coast, we will have for everyone available a recorded episode of this, so you can reference it back at any time, and then also look on it for some of our social media links. If anyone's coming to SYNNEX National Conference next week, StorageCraft will be in our booth, and as one of our premier disaster recovery software providers. So thanks again to everyone. Brian, StorageCraft team, I can't thank you guys enough for helping us with our partners here and giving them an outstanding option for replacing some of our competitive products that were previously offered. With that, I don't see any additional questions. Anyone else? Let's see.
If anyone has a question, just go ahead and send those to Trent, or use that inbox that Trent showed, and we will do our very best to get back with you as soon as possible.
Good deal. Yeah, I see a couple of requests for the license check link. I'll get that out pretty much to everyone, and we'll send also the pre-recorded webinar. So with that, we'll go ahead and end. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your business. If you're already an existing StorageCraft partner and you're looking for more information, we hope we were able to help you out. For anyone who's new to the product, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team, and let's get the individual one-on-one session set up for you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Trent. Thanks, everyone.